What's up, whiskey folks? Happy Friday. What is good, y'all? Eric, your humble mom user with a little impromptu live Friday stream. I wasn't on Tuesday, so I figured what the hell, let's hang out for a bit tonight. Lunch and cheers. I'm having a beer at the moment. I got some whiskey next to me as well. And of course, we're going to get into a whiskey that, you know what, today's just the day it's getting uncorked. It's been sitting here for a while. We're going to get into it. Hope everybody is doing well and has had a good week so far. Also, hope y'all are getting home okay. It is Friday traffic after all, and depending on where you live, you know, that can be a real thing. It definitely is here in Chicagoland. So hope y'all are having a decent commute, and maybe I can keep you company along with some of our good friends here in the chat, which I see is blowing up already here on a little Rush Hour Friday Live. So before we get started, in the glass right now, taking the edge off this crazy week, I am, well, first and foremost, I got a beer. This is a real big, hazy juice bomb beer from a absolutely killer brewery here in Chicago called Hop Butcher for the World. This is the Mega Dipped. It is a double IPA, Amarillo, Citra, and Simcoe hopped, 8%. Really, really good. And I've been revisiting the Glenallachie 10-year-old cask strength batch 7. If you caught my Glenallachie review of sorts, where I compared the batches 5, 6, and 7, I think this was maybe about a month ago. You may recall this batch 7 did not really impress. As time and oxygen see it, it has gotten better. Now that we're past that halfway point, it is still not, I don't think, to the level of the batch 5 or the batch 6, and in fact is probably the weakest that I've had. I have, of course, not had batch 1, and I have not had batch 3, but that's basically the case. So it's gotten better. I don't feel quite as... I stick with the score that I gave it, which you can check out that video if you want to find out. I don't think the score changes. I don't regret, but I don't regret it quite as much. And regret's maybe not the right word. I'm not as disappointed, but still, it's just... This is a whiskey I just want to drink to get it off the shelf. This beer is just straight killing it. I had something interesting earlier today. We're not going to spend a lot of time on beer, so don't worry. This is from Phase 3, another brewery here in Chicago. Affy Tapple, a bushel of apples, peanut caramel apple ale. Now, this is what I would say. There's about 20 million ways that this could go wrong. Phase 3 is one of the, I think, better the breweries here. I was like, come on, you guys got to be kidding. Affy Tapple, of course, is the caramel apple mass-marketed autumn fall treat. Comes out of Illinois. This is bottled at 6%, and I was just like, yeah, this is either going to be way too sweet or way too much apple juice. It is basically ale with apple juice and some other flavors. Now, to my surprise, 4-pack was about $12. To my surprise, this is actually really good. It's not overly sweet like a cider. The peanut and caramel flavor taste exactly like you would on a caramel apple or an Affy Tapple for that matter. It is just perfectly done. It's subtle, and the apple really makes it a crisp and not too bitter, not too sweet beer, and you really do get the ale in it. I'm actually a fan. I'm not going to go buy more of it. It's a one, have one. You're not going to drink a bunch of them, but pretty fun little beer. I did run to Binny's today to check out some of the new releases, and this was sitting there, so I had to give it a try. Anyways, enough about the beer and this hazy monster that I'm going to be finishing up here. It's killer. First in the door tonight on this Rush Hour Friday Live. What up, Donner Pass? It's our boy Tim. Tim is here. I don't know if he's working or not. Tim comes to us from somewhere out in Central California. I hope you are doing well, Tim, and that you have had a good week. Jupiter, Florida. What's up, Mr. G? Gerbeck's here. Duluth, Minnesota is in the house. I am not, thank God. If this was just a local show, I guess I would say it's rush hours, because I think rush hour here in Chicago starts around 2:45 and goes until about 7 o'clock at night on a regular day. So, I am thankful to not be anywhere near it. Rosemount's in the house. Hey, it's Mike Meyer. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, Mike. How you been, man? And Mike's in Minnesota. Oh, right. Just outside the Twin Cities, if I'm not mistaken, Rosemount. What's up, Midwest peeps? I see you. I'll raise a glass to you, Mike. Good to see you, man. Sun Valley Desert out there in Phoenix is here. Arizona, it's Leo, and he's got the Carches Warehouse one. How you liking that, man? This is a good one. You're gonna be drinking some peaty whiskeys today, boy. If you're having anything after that one is a monster. There we go. Somewhere along the border, the borderlands of Louisiana and Tejas. It's our boy with the wrench, Daniel H. What's up, man? Been working hard this week at the barbecue, I see. Happy Friday, man. He's got the blackened sea. Oh, dude, tell me how that is. So, funny story. I had not had it. I had the regular one when Michael Besley, our friend from Maryland, had been coming through Chicago. We met up at a bar down in the Loop downtown, and I think it was on Labor Day, so there wasn't a lot open, but we found a place, and I tasted the regular blackened bourbon for the first time, and I got to say, it was pretty good. I had been skeptical, but I had heard about this cask strength, and there's also like a Willet. There's like a Willet. I don't know if it's distilled or it's just blended with some Willet rye or bourbon. I don't know, but it looks really good. Oh, Donner Pass. He's got a Palisade Douglas Lane Epicurean. Oh, man. I, unfortunately, have just not had any of those. That or the Timorous Beastie. I keep hearing great things that are really good blends. Douglas Lang they seem to be a really solid whiskey independent bottler and blender. Good problem to have, buddy. That beer looks incredible. Yeah. This is it's a double IPA. It's a fusion of I think the Megabyte and their beef dipped, and it's called Hop Butchers. They just do small releases every Thursday here in Chicago. Yeah, 3 different hops. I mean, that is just gorgeous. Looks like filthy mop water, which is kind of what I like in hazy IPA season, which is most of the year for me. Northern Islands in the house. What's up, man? Cheers from across the pond. Yeah, man, back at you, brother. Gotta love that life, hey? No complaints. Mike Meyer's got the bar just 20 feet away. You would not want it any further. Yeah. A lot of citrus. So the flavor profile on it, they always do this on the back. So basically, as they say, juicy citrus, candied mango, and ripe stone fruit. I think that's hitting all of those. Now, normally I don't like beers with Simcoe hops or Cascade hops in particular because I don't like grapefruit flavor. So I try to avoid those. But sometimes when they put Simcoe in one of or they got 5 different hops in the beer, it balances out nice. This has just got a little bit of that grapefruit note and not too much, and I can handle that. But yeah, it is definitely a hazy ass juice bomb if you ever did see one. Daniel H., by the way, we're going to be getting a couple of these. I'm sending you a mixed 4-pack of some Hot Butcher because you sent me some beer. So keep an eye out for that. I remember Dusty saying Batch 7 was a little much larger release than the previous ones. It seems like that could be a problem. Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it. It's look, I'll be completely honest. When I first opened it, it was definitely by far the weakest release I had had. It's gotten better. It's not so oaky now. It was much more oaky than the other ones that I recalled. I'm enjoying it more now, but again, I don't think it's enough to change the score. We'll see. We'll see if they could be getting out of some of their older stock too. Who knows? It's tough to say. Ontario's in the house. What up, Mr. White? Or my boy over in the Quad Cities on the other side of Illinois here too. It's Chris. How you doing, brother? Love me some beer drinking. Various Fest beer, Oktoberfest beers. Yeah, man. I've been all about that. I was up in Wisconsin last week. I brought back the Staghorn Oktoberfest from New Glarus. Of course, but I've been tasting some of the the Oktoberfest beers fest beers around town. I do enjoy that. Mr. White's gonna have a small pour of the Forkless 15. That sounds like a plan. A little early. What time is it by? Are you East Coast time or are you Central time where you are in Ontario? I'm assuming you're East Coast, but yeah, I don't know if this one won't be in it, but trust me, there's some other ones that are even better than this. Anyways, yeah, he's East Coast. Okay. Anyways, yeah, so the Glen Alehi 10 cast drink. I'll be honest, like I really did like batch 5 and 6. It's really good stuff, but I'm finding myself just not drinking it that much. I never seem to reach for it, and I don't really know why. It's not that it's like a top shelf special bottle that I'm only going to pour on a special occasion, and it's not like it's just a whiskey you can just pour without having it be too complex. I mean, there's a lot going on in this, and it's like 58% ABV depending on which bottle you get. So it's one of these and it's very sherried. There's a lot in the Rioja wine, and it's a really thick whiskey. So I've just not found myself since I bought these really finding them as whiskeys I'm reaching for, and it's not necessarily due to the quality, although batch 7, yeah. It's just kind of like, I don't know where this fits in. And I think the conclusion I'm coming to is I just don't know that this is really my whiskey. It's, I respect the presentation. It's done in a craft style. It's big, bold flavor, but there are just other sherry heavy whiskeys that I like more that I just seem to be more interested in drinking than this one. So I'm ambivalent if I'm going to pick up batch 8. I really am. Glen Alehi just fights to find a spot for me. And it isn't because of their quality. It's a totally subjective thing. I don't know. It's like a good whiskey, a good affordable whiskey that I, for whatever reason, just don't have the bandwidth for. So I don't know. This could be the last Glen Alehi that I buy for quite some time. I completely am not interested in their 18 really, or their some of their more pricey age stuff. Just not that compelling to me. The prices are kind of outrageous too. And their 15, I think the Glendronach Revival, even though now it's chill filtered, maybe it's changed, but when it wasn't chill filtered, I think was just a better dram. So I don't know. Glen Alehi is just not one of these distilleries I particularly seem to be caring about so much. I know, if you like a year ago, especially, they were all the rage, and I think folks were anointing them the next Glendronach. I'm not sure if that's still the attitude or not. I don't think that they don't quite do it. I don't get a sense of their actual character. the actual character of their malt and their stuff. And I don't know, it just doesn't quite hit in the same way as the Glendronachs do. And so I'm kind of just, I don't know. I guess I'm just not all that into Glenallachie. This is a good whiskey, man. But here's the thing. This has gotten better, but it's still got this sharp oaky bitterness to it that I quite frankly think it's a little rushed. Maybe there's like less older stuff in here. Now the 12 is something I need to revisit. The 15 I probably won't, despite it being a solid whiskey. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a distillery that I don't think about very much. Like I don't find it particularly interesting. I don't know why. I know I'm probably in the minority on this, as you know, a lot of folks really love their stuff. So yeah, it is what it is. Maybe these 10s will be something that I'll keep looking for. If I see them on a shelf, I guess I'm not going to hunt for them. Is maybe a more truly accurate statement. If I see one on the shelf and it's like in that $80 range, maybe I'll grab it. But I'm certainly not going to hunt for it, and I'm not going to spend a lot on them. See, this one is just a bit oakier and drier than the others. And even with the benefit of oxidization, which has helped this whiskey, it's still just not quite there. And again, I don't know. When I smell this, I just cannot get any distinct provincial character notes of Glenallachie from this. I feel like Glenallachie is incredibly overdone with cask. Aberlour is another one of these, which I feel Aberlour is even, I think, less than this. I don't get much of anything in terms of a malt character in Aberlour. I don't know. I do in a bit with Glendronach, even the heavy sherried ones. Like the Allardyce has some character. The Parliament has some character. I don't know. There's just a lot happening. Shortly, we're going to get into a whiskey from a distillery that oozes character, Bunnahabhain. In fact, to do it justice, I should probably uncork this bottle now and get it getting some oxygen. It's a 22-year-old whiskey. Yeah, we'll do that shortly. Anyways, love to hear folks' opinions on Glenallachie. You know where they're kind of falling for me? They're kind of falling in the same category as Kilchoman for me. Craft presented whiskeys that just don't quite tick all the boxes, and I can't quite point to why. I just never seem to have any that are outside of like the batch 5 and batch 6 that I had with the Glenallachie, are really the best ones I've had. Everything else I've had seems kind of like I see independent bottlings all the time. I don't really ever think about buying them. There's just something about their stuff that just turns me the other way. And Kilchoman is similar. I've had a lot of Kilchomans. I rarely find one that I really enjoy. And I've moved into a position now where I'm like, I'm going to try. I'm pretty much going to try before I buy with Kilchoman. Again, it's not because they're bad or that they're putting out a bad product. It just doesn't work for me. It just, something is missing. And I don't know what it is. It's just kind of one of these things, And again, it's not a slight. I want to be really, really clear about this. It is really not a slight. I am not slighting Glenallachie or Kilchoman. Like, in fact, as somebody who spends time with a whiskey quite often, I feel like they like it. I've tried so many to get to this point because I respect them so much. I respect like what they're doing. You know, they're putting stuff out with a craft presentation and things like that. They're just not my cup of tea. And then there are distilleries that I just like pretty much straight up don't like. Talisker, for example. Like, I am going to have the Talisker review later this year, though, of a Talisker that I quite like. But you know, Talisker is not a distillery that I pay much attention to at all. I do periodically look for one because I feel like if I'm going to do a whiskey review channel, I'm not just gonna, you know, I'm going to try and push myself a little bit. But you know, Talisker's, I don't really like their peppery style. It's just not my thing. So, you know, and I'm sure we all have these. I'd love to hear what some of yours are. But for me, yeah, I think Kilchoman and Talisker are two distilleries, Jura. And Glenallachie is kind of right there. Like, if you put a Ben Riach and a Glenallachie in front of me, I would take the Ben Riach probably every time. I like their stuff a lot more, for example. And not that I necessarily think Ben Riach has a ton of unique character to it, but more so. It is what it is, y'all. We all got different palates, and that's what makes this fun. And it's one of the reasons I try to be really fair with these. Like, I try to be fair. I mean, for example, the Glenallachie 10 batch, I think 5 and 6, like, those are over 4-point whiskeys for me. If I saw those again, I'd buy them. I think they're the only Glenallecchies that have ever really impressed me, but it's just where my palate's at. It remains to be seen, you know, like, it seems like they're rushing out a lot of stuff. I mean, there's so much Glenallachie out there now. Like, it seems kind of honestly surprising because they haven't been around that long. I mean, they haven't been like rejuvenated for that long. Like, there's so much stuff out there now from them. They can't have much of the old stock left. And if this is the old stock, where are things going from here? We'll see. Again, I'm not hating. I'm just saying it's not my thing. It's not my thing as much as I guess I expected that it would be. And I don't think, at least now, that it compares favorably or it beats out Glendronach. I just don't think it's not Glendronach. Well, with one big caveat. Glendronach is, of course, taking a turn for the worse. Okay, let me catch up. We got 15 folks in. What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. Love to say hi. Let me know where you're coming from if I don't know already. The keg of Pilsner Urquell on my porch might freeze soon. Oh, Pilsner Urquell. I went to Prague when I was like 23 years old, and I drank a bunch of that freshies, and it was so good. That's a good beer. I'm a big fan. Have you put any Glenallachie 10s against the Tamdhu batch drink? No, I have not. And I actually don't have any more Tamdhu batch drink because I drank it all. It was my whiskey of the year last year. I don't think it would even. Tamdhu, I think. Yeah, I'll go Tamdhu. It would be a fun little comparison to do, though. Good idea indeed. I don't mind the Glenallachie 12 cheap. I FOMO did a bit in the 10s, but that's just me. Yeah, I feel you. Glenallachie just wants to be edge redoer. I've not really connected with Glenallachie. I had two of their older 12s before they got dark and older. The 15 was too dark, just okay for me. Yeah. Hey, whiskey friends in the house. What up, Alan? It's early days, Eric. 5 years ago, no Glenallachie bottlings. They have come far in such a short period. Yeah, no, that's a totally fair point, Alan. And that I was trying to emphasize that. Like, I'm not writing it off, and I'm not saying they're a bad product because they're not. I can name 10, 20, 30, 50 whiskeys that I would would not want to drink that don't even come close to Glenallachie and mainstream stuff like that. I'm just saying that from what I've had, I'm not that it has not been a super compelling thing to me. And of course I'm staying open-minded about it. That's just me. So if that's not clear, I hope it is now. And I know you love some Glenal, but it ain't Kilkerran, right? How many Kilkerrans have there been for the last X amount of years? Not that many. And I don't think I mean, Kilkerran has probably been as big on the market as Glenallachie has for about the same period of time, and their stuff is just exponentially more interesting. In my humble opinion, Ken Batch 3 is quite a bit more than 6-7. Did like it more. Okay. Just too much glee out there. Dude, there's so much. So much. When I'm like online shopping, it's like I got to scroll through like 2 pages. It almost gets like Macallan. You're just like, how many Glenallachie's? Oh, now we got a series of 8-year-olds with 25 different finishes. And you're just like, holy shit. I don't know. Where would you even buy? I don't know. There's so much. There's so much Glenallachie. It's fun. I mean, if you're a fan of the distillery, man, this is like, if that's your wheelhouse, this is the good times if you're into it. See, I mean, this one, like I said, I think this batch 7 is the weakest that I've had, but I want to emphasize it's still pretty good. While it's a bit over oaked, it has gotten better. And again, these dark berry notes are coming in a lot. I just don't get a lot of character in it. It just kind of tastes like a Oloroso sherry. I don't get a lot of Glenallachie character, right? There are some distilleries that I think have character for better ways. Jura has character. You may not like it. I don't, for the most part, but it has character. You know when you're drinking a Jura. You know when you're drinking a Bruichladdich with rare exception. You know when you're drinking an Anach. You know when you're drinking a Springbank. You know when you're drinking a Glen Scotia or anything from Campbelltown, really. You know when you're having a Lefroy. You know when you're having a Talisker. You know when you're having a Highland Park. Do you know when you're having a Glenallachie? I don't. I mean, maybe some of y'all have a better palate than me on this stuff, and you very well might too. But put this blind, fucked if I would know what it was. Jeff Whiskey, hey man, how's it going? Haven't really connected yet. Yeah. Yet is a key point. I think you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, I'm definitely not talking shit. I have a more developed relationship with Kilchoman now. As Alan mentioned earlier, that it's in the early days of Glenallachie. It's also relatively early days of Kilchoman. I just feel like I've had enough Kilchomans. I will always try one, but I have moved from a place where I'm buying them because I'm assuming I'm going to love it because it's a peated Islay whiskey and it's non-chill filtered natural color. I've moved from that to, unless it's the Loch Gorham, I'm going to just hold off. And if I can taste it first, I will. That's just the world I'm living in now with them because honestly, it's not that I've been burned. It's not like I bought a Dalmore. It's more that it just doesn't connect with me. So, for Kilchoman, it's yeah, I don't bash it. I just am honest about my experience with it, And when I review it, I try to be fair. And you're not going to see that many more Kilchoman reviews from me. Maybe one a year, if that. Frankly, because I'm just not buying them. I mean, you see all these non-age statement, 6-year-old pheno casks, 6-year-old, they got a cask of everything. I've done enough. There's probably a diamond in the rough for me out there, but I'm just not going to search for it. And believe me, they've taken enough of my money. And I want, I'll come back in a couple years and see what's up with Kilchoman. Glenallachie's like Kilchoman, them are fighting words. Well, like I said, man, each his own. If you guys saw the review that dropped today, another example of a distillery that's just like, well, it's a little different in that I'm not sure I respect their process. They have the story of one, Oban. But boy, that Oban 18. Oh, man. That Oban 18. Check out the review if you haven't yet. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. All right. Farkless 15 is much more my liking than Glenallachie 15, or any 15 for that matter. Farkless 15. I mean, now Farkless is another distillery that I have no interest in. I've done enough Glen Farklesses. Other than that family cast that Mike B sent and the 15, I've had a cast rank 21, etc. The 25. I'm not sure I can. I think it's neck and neck with the Glenallachie. I'm not sure I would say compared to the Glendronach, but fair enough. I wish we could get Glenallachie 15 or Glen Farkless 15 on the regular here in the States, but you got to go over the seas. You guys get it in Canada. That's not part of the range here in the United States. And among other things, what makes it so good is that it's 46%. Everything here's 43. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Talking about a distillery who had no core range 3 years ago, it is cast dominated. Agreed. Billy Walker is trying to work his magic. Yeah, I agree. I mean, his magic is always casks, though. Like his magic is always 6 or 7 casks, or whatever you want to call it. I agree that's what I'm talking about. And again, I'm not hating on it, but let's put it in perspective. Ben Riek, his other pet project before this, I just think it's better stuff. The finishes complement each other, so on and so forth. Again, we'll see I'm not writing off Glenallachie. I'm just merely saying name 5, put 5 core. I mean, that's not a fair challenge. I mean, outside the 10 and maybe the 12 because of price, what's really worth drinking from them? TBD. Again, respect the process, respect the person doing it, respect the presentation. Outside the 10 cast strength, the 10 cast strength is the only thing that has ever wowed me from them, and it's taken a turn for the less wow with the most recent batch. Frisco's in the house. What's up, Gary? Cali crew. We got Central California. We got the Bay Area. The only people we're missing is our LA crew. I saw that. Is it? All right. I'm in. Love to chat it. Eric, when they bought the distillery, they bought it with over $500,000. Well, right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's the thing, Alan, is that like, if that much whiskey was in there, I'll tell you right now, between batch 5 and batch 7 of this, I don't know if you've had batch 7. You probably have. There's a market difference. So they're probably running out of old stock. I mean, that's fine. It's going to happen someday, right? But that doesn't change the fact that, like, if the stuff that they've been putting out for the most part now has been subpar and they've had old stuff, that's even like more damning, right? Because if they were just like some new distillery where it's like their new make spirit and all right, you can see where they're going, like Torveg, right? Oh, okay, like this is pretty good, for a 3-year-old whiskey. Can't wait to see it in 10 years. I mean, what are we going to be looking at with Glenallachie in 10 years? Billy Walker's malt, like he's going to up the grade of the malt, like we're going to have a better, more characterful malt. I don't know. A lot of questions about that. Maybe that's outside my knowledge base, but again, it's not about hating. It's just a person's opinion based on what I've had. And hey, Winston, what do you think about this Glenallachie batch 7? Yeah, just like everything else, you can't trust that cat's opinion. No, I don't think so. I've not had anything from Glendronach since they changed. However, I just bought 2 bottles of Parliament, which are from 2021, date stamped, which means they're 26-year-olds. However, the tubes they're in the bottle, No longer say non-chill filtered. So here's the question: do you buy the old juice Parliament if they started chill filtering it? Did they actually start chill filtering it? Good dog. What are you doing? Okay. I don't know. Here, I'll show you. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. So here we have an older release of the Glendronach Parliament. This is date stamp on this. Now these are really hard to read. This is, yeah, I gotta put the light on it just for context. Okay, here we go. This is a 2019. So according to the maturation, or the stunted release of like aging with them, this would be a 24-year-old Parliament. Here on the bottle it says, it doesn't say. So this is interesting. The tube says non-chill filtered. This 2021 doesn't, so you can see the difference. Here's the 2019. You see it right there. Non-chill filtered. Here's the 2021. Right? Did they actually take the old juice that's still being bottled for the Parliaments and chill filter it? I have a hard time believing that. The bottles look the exact same. The juice looks the exact same. I don't know. Maybe they just threw it in the new tubes. Or maybe, I don't know. Nonetheless, when that exchange rate had dropped, I had to jump on this. And 26-year-old Parliaments, hook it up. Let's do it. So we'll be getting into one of these soon enough. But yeah, I don't know. Glendronach is Glendronach, or was Glendronach. I would say it's probably not anymore. So in other words, I agree. Yeah. The Parliament is the only one that still has old juice, and next year is the last year of it. So after anything date stamped after 2023 is going to be 21-year-old juice. Everything else right now is 26 to 27 years old. Batch for the class strength would make short work of the Glenallachie 10. Yeah. The 14 Oloroso? Point me in the right direction, brother. I'm in. Let me ask you though, for as far as your favorite distilleries go. In fact, you know what? I'd love to hear this from all, because we're about to pivot off the Glenallachie thing, and about off Glenallachie in general. In fact, we're gonna get into some Islay. I'd love to hear in the chat. If you want to do top 3, it's fine. If you want to rank them all, it's fine. Like your overall favorite Islay distilleries. If you want to do a list of every Islay distillery from favorite to least favorite, or if you want to do your top 2 or 3 or just your top 1, drop it in the chat. I'd love to hear it, because we're about to get into an Islay whiskey in just a minute, and it's a peated one from a distillery on Islay that doesn't really peat, so it should be fun. Fair enough. Brad out in Detroit. Hey man, thank you. Appreciate the super chat. Thanks. That is super cool of you, man. Always love the support. If anybody else feels like it, we're going to get into some Buna here in a second, which should be fun. What's up, Indy out in Vancouver? All right, we haven't got into it yet. I would say that is my favorite Kilchoman core range whiskey. Full sherry cask. Now the batch variation or the vintage variation changes significantly with those. They're not a very consistent distillery. They seem to be getting better as years go on. I had the 2019. I loved it. 110 is about maybe the best price you can find, especially in New York City. I'd probably pull the trigger if you like a heavily sherry peat whiskey. Gary, I saw your Port Charlotte review of the SE1 just right here, so I brought one. Oh, that's so cool, man. Yeah, the SE1 is good. Brooke Lottie. In fact, I got that SE1. You know, we might get into a little bit of that tonight. Why not? Fucking SE1. That was actually pushed on me by a good friend of the show. Cohen. Cohen was like, dude, you gotta get this. And I was like, okay. I don't have the OLC. I didn't get that one, unfortunately, but I've had the MC and the MRC, both of which are awesome. I think I have a video comparing those two. Dude, the SEO one. Those 9-year Brooke Lottie does amazing stuff with Young Spirit, but you still taste the Brooke Lottie in it, right? One of the things I respect about them. Ooh, 40 repeated now. Damn. He was. Yeah. Truth. At Malmusar, check out the article about that on Gemface. Brown Foreman didn't change anything, but Billy was not in the SWA, and they did not want to get in trouble for what they did. I'll check it out. Okay, here come the Islas. Before we get into this, actually, I'm gonna hold you for a second. I'm gonna get this in the glass and let it start getting a little action. So this is what we're gonna open tonight. It's a huge, mammoth, heavy-ass box because this is how Buna does it. This is a Bunnahabhain Moine. Moine means peated in Gaelic. Limited release, 1997 PX finish. It's 19 years bourbon cask, 3 years PX, non-chill filtered natural color, 50% ABV. This is bottle 499 of 1,661. Warehouse 8. So yeah. 22 years old, 3-year finish in PX, and it's Moine, which means it's going to be peated, which means we might also get some smokiness on it. I have never had it before. We're going to do it tonight. Gotta get it out of this thing. Thank you all. Here we go. We've been talking about distilleries and character. Now, Buna to me has character. And if you ever watch Pulp Fiction, you know character goes a long way. I don't know if I need this giant heavy box. This thing is literally like 3 pounds. I'm not even kidding. Maybe more. Okay. We're going to shift gears to Isla. Let's get this off this label here. This foil crap. Good old Bunnahabhain. Bada bing. Bada boon. Oh, Lord. I got a fresh Glencairn in here just for this. All right. 22 years. We're going to give this its full 20. We're going to give it 20 minutes. Maybe 22. Maybe we'll get all the way to 22. We'll see. We're going to give it some time to rest. While it does, let's talk Isla. So, as I said, a little bit of a prompt. Favorite Isla distillery? Rank them all. Tell me in the chat. Rank them all. Tell me just your favorite or your top 3. Our first out with Gary here. Freud, Buna, Brooke Lottie, Kalila. Very nice list. Whiskey friend, Brooke Lottie, just picked up a single cast 30. Oh, man. Damn. Everybody parties over at Alan, the whiskey friend's house. Should we use the back door, Alan? Damn. I don't think so either. 2022 is the last year. Yes, that's correct. I apologize. I said 2024. He's absolutely right. This is the last year. Thank you for that correction, Mr. White. Just got a third bottle of Art American single cask. Heavily peated sherry cask and Oloroso. Love it. Oh, I have not had that. That sounds amazing. I saw a Castring bourbon cask, not sherry, but I would love to get my hands on that. Alan, the Whiskey Friends got the SCO1 now. It takes on Octomore and has been, dude, fuck yeah. SCO1's great. Great whiskey. You're right. So indie releases count. However, you get to experience a distillery. I know this gives Kalila especially a bit of a leg up, but or at least a boost. But hey, it is what it is. I have an unopened bottle of 2013 or 2003 14-year-old Buna PX. Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. New York City, pickle count, Ardbeg for core range, Lafroig 10 cast strength Carches, Port Charlotte, and then Kilhoman for Pete. But recently I opened a signature 25-year-old Stoisha Bunnahabhain. It's rocking the non-iodine PE. Dude, great comment here from our boy Jack out there in New York City. That's a good one. Klein Leash 8 SMWS, Tropical Fruit Bomb. Fuck, I bet, man. That sounds good. Daniel H is chiming in. He says Freud. Donner's got that. Okay. Got that Glendronach. Yeah, so good. I mean, these are good choices, y'all. I mean, like it's tough. So for me, I'm gonna try and rank them. I'm gonna try and do the ranking here. Isla is really it's easy in a way because there's only a couple distilleries, but it's hard because they're all pretty much amazing. So here I'm gonna go. Number one. Oh, fuck. I agree with Jack the Pickled Hound on that core range. But also, there's only a couple in the core range, right? And I don't love the NO and I don't love the Wee Beastie. So, honestly, it's not going to be our bag. I think number one for me is going to be Bruichladdich. Simply because I think the range of whiskeys you can get from them is just so diverse. Two is going to be Lafroig because the 10 cast strength mostly and the Carches releases, as Jack was saying. Three is going to be Bruichladdich, Lafroig. I think three is going to be Bunnahabhain. 4 is Ardbeg. 5 is Lagavulin. And the problem with Lagavulin strictly is this. Lagavulin would be way higher if they just had more whiskeys you could get. The problem is like, unless you can get the Festival or the Jazz Fests, you're really limited on Lagavulins. So Lagavulin's going to be 5. Kalila is 6, and I love indie Kalilas. 7. Yeah, where are we at here? Yeah, 7 is going to be Kilhoman. 8 is Bowmore. Is that all of them? Or did I miss one? I think that's right. Bruichladdich, Lafroig, Bunnahabhain, Ardbeg, Lagavulin, Kalila, Kilhoman, Bowmore. I think that's all. If I'm missing one, let me know. I don't know if I'm missing one. But yeah, I think that's the way I'd rank it. And to be clear, I think the only one that I'm like, I don't put at above average, and I put at just average would be Kilhoman. And well, Bowmore, Gary's right. Old Bowmore is a different story. I've never had him. Everything I've had from Bowmore has been pedestrian. I do have one yet that we're going to open at some point in time. It's an 18-year-old Manzanilla, but yeah, that's where I'm landing on this, y'all. Yeah, but I mean, just to be clear, the top 6 I think are above average, all the way down to Kalila. Kalila's core range stuff is disappointing, I think, for the most part. They're 12 especially, but the independent bottling Kalila is more than make up for it. Yeah, dude, totally. Yeah. I don't know when Ardnaho is going to have stuff or if it's even been released yet, but once it does, I'm assuming it's going to be a contender. Yeah, I'm not sure. Has anything hit the market from them yet? I mean, I'll be into it when it happens. Yep. Yeah, I'm kind of with Mr. White here. So I have a Bowmore. We should open it soon. We'll do this on a Tasty Tuesday. So this is the Bowmore. It's an 18-year-old. It's part of the Vintners trilogy. It's 52.5 18-year-old Manzanilla cask. This is the only Bowmore I own. So we're gonna. I mean, sooner than later, we're gonna get into it. But yeah, they're 12, and so I haven't even done reviews. They're 12 and 15, and they're 18. Kind of. Yeah, please do. I'd love to. I've heard about the vault stuff, and I've heard good things actually. Okay, yeah. Let me go get a refill of water, and when I come back, we're going to get into this Buna. So, give me just a hot second. All right, whiskey friends. Here we go. I have a Bowmore 15. I called the darkest E150A. One of the first peated bottles that our boy Daniel down in Tejas bought. Mr. White. He's got an Indy. Is that an Indy bottle? Limerick. Alpha Crown, how you doing? Yeah, I've not had an old one, but I've always just heard from people who, have been had the opportunity for a while that they like the older ones. It's good to know. Yeah, we're gonna do a Bowmore sooner than later one of these days. Okay, let's get into this whiskey that I was like hyping as the whiskey we were going to talk about tonight. Here we go. Tail of the tape. So first and foremost, this is the ostentatious box that it comes in. It's really quite heavy. Okay, Buna. So the whiskey itself is a limited release whiskey. Here is the bottle. Classic limited release fashion. This is the Bunnahabhain 1997 Moine PX finish. 22-year-old single malt, aged in it's ex-bourbon. They don't say it on here. And then I believe it is a 3-year finish in PX. It says on the back of this. Moine means peated in Scots Gaelic. So we're going to get peat and maybe some smoke. It is bottled at 50% ABV, cask strength, it claims. And it's no added color, non-chill filtered. Everything we want. Oh, price on this is varied. Let me actually just bring it up. According to Whiskey Base, this whiskey is this averages at a average value of 453 euros. So I believe euros to dollars is at parity right now, so about 450 bucks. So it's an obscenely kind of pricey Buna, but it is what it is. I was lucky to get my hands on it for a price lower than that. Here is the color. And here we go. I sort of got, I just swirled this a little bit and it just wafted in my face from that distance. Wow. On the nose. So one of the notes that I often use when comparing or when talking about Bunnahabhain is a note that maybe is a little bit too insider baseball for me, but it's like an old downtown used bookstore. If any of you guys live in a city or you've been to them, you go in those old bookstores. There's that kind of musty, slightly dank, old paper note. Like every Buna, it's here, but let me tell you, it is playing a slightly more background note. It usually is in the background, but this is even more subtle. The berries and dense, rich fruit, sweet fruits are just exploding out of this glass. I mean, blueberry, tart, raspberries. It has that Bunnahabhain note that you walked into an old abandoned warehouse, an old downtown bookstore. It's got that in. There's a slightly savory quality to it. So really what we're looking at here so far is sweet and slightly savory. It's almost a little meaty. Pork chop. I know. There's a nice vanilla creaminess to everything. This whiskey is just really all over the place in great ways. That PX though, PX is on the sweeter side of your Spanish sherries, and boy, it is integrated so well here with the bourbon cask, which is what I assume this has spent the 19 years in, because I am getting a little bit of graham cracker, I'm getting a little bit of vanilla, I'm getting a little bit of that light brown sugar. All in all, rich, complex, sweet, a little bit oaky, a little bit savory. A really nice nose, a very Bunnahabhain nose, but let's taste it. Here we go. Happy Friday, y'all. Oh boy. Oh, that is really good. Really, really good. My first impression here is it has reminded me of Bruichladdich Black Art. However, there's a lot more spice to it. Okay. Let me do one more sip, and then we'll get into talking about it. Mm. Okay. Wow. Okay. So here we go. It's very medium body. You would probably think for a whiskey like this, it'd have higher viscosity. Kind of a medium body. Immediately you're hit with that sweet PX fruit. But underneath it, oak, almost like a virgin oak level of spice, which is I think coming from the peat. As it develops, you just get hit with these waves of roasted nuts, dark chocolate, toffee, mixing with this kind of sweet cherry, sweet berry PX sherry note for the main event. Lot of dry spice on the back end, and I mean in this kind of like earthy, spicy character, not hot spice, not like chili pepper. This is more of your like coriander, kind of cumin type stuff. The berry notes play pretty well, creamy, long finish. Sweet PX. The peatiness is giving it an ashy character. So you got ashy, dry, slightly sweet, darker notes on the finish. And the finish is medium, long to long. No, it's definitely long. Let me do a third sip neat, and then let's put some water on it. The nose is outrageous. If you've been in the whiskey single malt community, drinking single malts for a while, and you like Bunnahabhain, this nose is for you. I will say it's a little more muted than I expected, but it's fantastic. I mean, 4.25 out of 5 on the nose. Here we go. See, the viscosity in this, I just expected it to be a little richer. The benchmark for me with Buna, my favorite Buna of all time is the limited release Bunnahabhain Moine red wine Bordeaux from like 3 years ago. It was a 9-year cask strength. I like it better than this. And I didn't expect to be saying that. It's a Moine too. Roasted nuts, chocolate, raspberry, chocolate-covered raspberry, earthy, oak. What a journey. Ash and a bit more peat and smokiness than I think I've had in a well-aged Bunnahabhain in a long time. This is smokier and more peat and smoke activity than the 10-year-old Moine red wine Bordeaux that I had, which is a little bit surprising. Again, this is 22 years old. If you think about the Lagavulin Distillers Edition, where the PX really pops at the end, on this whiskey, the PX finish pops in the beginning, the nose and the initial development. As this develops, it gets darker and rich and drier and spicier. So yeah, okay. I got the Glenmorangie pitcher filled up with a little bit of spring water here. I'm gonna put just about 3. Yeah, we're gonna do 3 drops on here. This is bottled at 50%. Oh, that finish. I think the thing that's surprising me the most about this, and this isn't a negative thing, is that it's not as, the sweetness isn't as omnipresent all the way through as I expected it to be. More of a citrus, tangerine orange, and like slight lemon note now with the water. But still, that characteristic old bookstore, moldy, funky basement, old warehouse, dunnage warehouse note. You know, you get that funk from Bunnahabhain. It's here, and I absolutely love it. This has actually pushed the PX a little bit back. It was sweeter on the nose with water. Still, though, if you go deep enough, there's those berries, those blueberries, those very rounded berry notes. Not citric and acidic, much more fulsome and sweet. But that peat, tobacco, pipe tobacco. Oh, yeah. Big time with the water. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Again, that the dryness and the oak hit hard as it transitioned into the finish. More so than I expected at a 22-year-old whiskey. The finish is just dominated by dry oak, slight vanilla, slight nougat. It's a long finish, ash, little pops here and there of sweet fruit. Okay. I'm going to pour a second dram of this because when in Rome. Okay, so first things first. I'm going to review this, or I'm going to give a prelim score based on the average price. The average price is 453 euros. Does this live up to 453 euros? No. In fact, I'm less impressed with this than I am some of the Bunnahabhain 25, which you can get right around the similar price, and the Bunnahabhain limited release Moine red wine Bordeaux finish, which was only 9 years old. I think both of those are better. Better because they're richer. They have a more seamless transition. This one, in contrast, like a little bit more disjointed. This is, of course, a neck pour, so this is a prelim score. But if you gave me $450 and a dram of this, had me drink it and say, will you buy a bottle for $450? I would say no. Second, does it retain the Bunnahabhain essence, character? This is essential Bunnahabhain. This is down to its core a Bunnahabhain whiskey. The thing that I'm finding more interesting, and as I get these slight chai notes coming in, is kind of how dry and honestly strong the peat influence is here. It is a peated malt. However, Bunnahabhain's this tastes more heavily peated than I expected. And I think it's taking a little bit away from what is a 22-year-old presentation of a serious Bunna here. I feel like it's missing just a bit of viscosity and depth that I otherwise would normally get. Well, depth I'm going to take back. Viscosity. It's a medium viscosity. I expected this to be even thicker at 22 years old. The PX finish is a nice thing. I would almost like a little bit more PX. But all in all, like a very nice whiskey. I don't think it is quite worth the price that are asking for it. And the nose is a 4.25 to a 4.5 out of 5. The palate is like a 3.5, and the finish is a 3. So honestly, if I'm going to just throw a prelim score on this is a 3.75 out of 5. A little bit disappointing for what I expected, but I have a whole bottle to work through, and we'll do an official review of it eventually. It just doesn't quite, and you know what, just for context sake, let me see. I don't have one open, unfortunately. Just for the hell of it, and I know that this is a little apples and oranges, but just for the hell of it, I'm going to throw a little bit of this Buna 25 in a glass, because the Buna 25, I think for the most part, correct me if I'm wrong, but look, this is like right around the same average price, $450. Let me just double check this here on Whiskey Base. So Bunnahabhain 25, actually a little bit cheaper, maybe like $100 cheaper, not peated. Just get a little water in me. But just, I know this is a little apples and oranges. So the Buna 25 is bottled at 46.3%. But if again, I think it's okay to do this comparison insofar as the context, which I'm going to do my best to give to it, because they are two different whiskeys. However, when you're getting up into price ranges like this, that, you know, I don't know about y'all, but the average person like me, I mean, these are not whiskeys that I can throw down big money on. And the reason that I even spent the money on this Buna 22 PX is because of how good this 25 is, which I was able to get a good price. But I'm just going to like jump in on this 25, which I've had open for 3 months. See, still characteristically Bunnahabhain, a little bit sweeter. Viscosity is a little bit more. Okay. It still has a little bit of that dry finish. Oh. But these fruit notes, these tropical fruit notes. Okay. All right. If I was going to compare these two, I think the Buna 25 is the if you're going to invest in a high-end Bunnahabhain, I think you're taking less of a gamble if you buy the Buna 25 over this 22 Moine PX. I will, of course, give it some time and, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the 25 is just a bit more cohesive. It's a bit more, has a little bit more of the richness. It still retains that very Bunnahabhain character. You know, we've been talking tonight about, you know, characterful malts and malts that show, malts that, you know, if you tasted blind, you would know where they were from. Clonality is not one of those. Bunnahabhain is one of those. And it's showing so in these two drinks. I'm sitting at 375 on the Moine PX, mostly because I think it just needs, it's not something you need to rush out and buy. I mean, I think I was as accurate as I could be with these notes. The 25 is just, if you're going to buy one of these, I'd get the 25. It's just fantastic. Yeah, I'm hovering in that 375 range. The 25 is more like a 425 to 45. Welsh Toro's in the house. What's up, buddy? Long time to see, man. How are you? I Hope everything's good. I'm interested in that. I love Ben Romick. I've been doing a lot of Ben Romicks of late. Moine Oloroso was good. It's kicking myself only buying one. Yeah, dude, shit. I wish I would have got a couple of those. It's great to see you, Welsh Toro. Love it. Love it. Love it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, those young ones are good. You just opened the Karch's PX. The Karch's PX is awesome. Full maturation in PX too. Yeah, Mr. White, I would. That's a buy without hesitation for me. The 25. I'll be completely honest. I never thought I would own one. I loved the 18 so much that I was like, if I ever find the 25 at a reasonable price here in the States or abroad, I would get it, and I did eventually. It's awesome. And honestly, I think you can get a lot of what you want from Bunnahabhain in terms of like the best they can give you. I think there's enough of it in the 18, but the 25, if you're willing to go deeper, is worth it. But I think I could be totally fine with the Buna 18 as long as its quality maintains, and that would be like my benchmark Buna. Their 12 is awesome too. Let's not forget that. Yeah. Yeah. Just doing the nose of both of these again. I almost wonder if it's just because of the peat. So zoom up. I love Bunnahabhain. So here's how it goes for me, man. My favorite Bunnahabhain, and therefore close to favorite whiskey ever. Bunnahabhain 9-year-old red wine Bordeaux 2018 limited release. That still reigns supreme. It to me, it blows both of these out of the water, and I don't even know how that's possible. Second is the Bunnahabhain 25. Third is this PX, and then the 18 is right behind it. And then fourth is the Fessial Amontillado from 2021. They're a great distillery. They're, again, that old, I have a soft spot in my heart for the old bookstore thing. And every time I drink Buna, I am taken to a place called Downtown Books in Milwaukee. But I've been in multiple bookstores that smelled the exact same way, and it's just got a soft spot for me. But the soft spot is backed up by quality. And the quality, of course, is non-chill filtered natural color and above 46%, which is the reality of fucking almost every Bunnahabhain I've had. So yeah, I'm sitting at 375, which for me is a buy if you find it at a good price, but try it otherwise. On this vintage 22-year-old PX. Little bit disappointing. I was expecting it to probably blow my mind. It's not quite doing that right now. We will do a full review, but it's cool to taste things. This is why I distinguish a uncorking review from a full review, because you gotta wait until you have your full bearings with a whiskey. I think not every whiskey needs. When you get into the level of these whiskeys, not everything needs to be like at its peak when you open it, as much as we would all love that. But that is just not the way of the living spirit that is in here. It is not just water, whiskey, and malt. It is a living spirit. It's changing all the time. It's growing. By the way, I did get this. And the only reason I did is because I was up in Milwaukee and hit it for $69.99. We're going to get into that soon. But I should say Tasty Tuesday is coming up, and I got the new latest Tales release Glenmorangie, A Tale of the Forest. It is whiskey with crafted from barley kilned with woodland botanicals. I can't wait to get into it. You know me. I do love me some Glenmoe. So we are going to check that out this week. But I still got some Buna to drink. We got 13 folks in. I just ordered a single cask independent Moine. You reviewed last week in Good Dram Show. Oh, nice. Love to see that link, Welsh Toro. That's awesome, man. It's good to see you, by the way, man. I hope all is well. Happy Friday. That's a good question. Probably the Bruichladdich Black Art 4.1 is probably the most euphoric single malt experience I've ever had. There are a couple others that I would throw up there in contention. Glengoyne 25, Redbreast 27, Redbreast 21. Those are up there. Let me see. Ballblair 1990 second release vintage. Yeah, I mean that's probably the Balvenie. I got a couple tons back there. The Balvenie ton 1509 batch 5 was really amazing. Yeah, it's hard, man, you know, like the palette changes so much, and the what's the word I want to use? The like not respect, but the experience of a single malt changes as much with oxygen in the bottle as it does with your palate, you know? Which is why I like to continue to revisit younger spirits that I had earlier in my journey. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into being a channel that I'm only drinking, you know, Moine 22 vintages, right? Like, I want to stay humble with it. And I've had some really good times tasting bottles that I hadn't had in a while. You know, we've seen this over the course of the year, but it does become increasing. You know, you're searching for that next high, right? You're searching for that next level of an experience. And, you know, if you would have poured this Moine Bordeaux for me 3 years ago, I probably have been like, this is the best whiskey I've ever had in my life. And today I'm giving it a 3.75. That's why I try to like add context. I know I can be long-winded, but I try to add context because I think the context is important. It's hard, man. You know, to like apply vague numbers to these things because they're such fluid, pun intended, but it's such a fluid experience. It is 6:54 here in Chicago, and we got 15 folks in. I hope everybody is doing well. Yes. Oh yeah, that 10 Imperial is so good. That's a great whiskey. Oh, the nose on this is just fantastic. I have a lot of Benromics, and that 10 cast strength, or that 10 Imperial proof, or whatever you want to call it, that's such a good one. It's sad they discontinued it. Yeah, you bring up a good point, buddy. I believe it is almost World Series time. If I'm not mistaken, they're First pitching in 10 minutes. Yeah, I am gonna I'm gonna position myself to watch this. I did live in Philly for 2 years, and while I don't have much love for Philadelphia, I think Bryce Harper's success is nothing but good for the sport of baseball. I think he's exactly the type of face baseball needs in this era. So I'm going to be cheering for the Phillies. Plus Houston. Sorry. Don't mean to offend my Texas folks. And I'm going to enjoy a little Bunnahabhain and doing it. So again, thank you all. Just a reminder, Open 18 review dropped today. Go check that out. I would love to hear your opinions on it. And next Tuesday, Tasty Tuesday, I got a tasty one, I'm hoping, queued up in the latest Tales release from Glenmorangie, A Tale of the Forest. We'll see what Dr. Bill has concocted here with that. So looking forward to that. I raise a glass to you all. Thanks for hanging out. I hope everybody is getting home safe, and we were able to provide some, entertainment for those in the rush hour here in the United States. So with that, this is the Mall Muser shutting down the signal from Chicago, Illinois. I'll catch you all Tuesday. Stay safe. Be well, my friends. Slash.